back with another video. Crimson Desert, of fucking course. We'll say this game's absolutely gorgeous. Also gonna say, I have no idea what I'm doing. All I know is I have a beautiful horse and a cute little doggo.
Everybody can get along, and I'll be the scapegoat for my point of view. And how I show you my point of view are going to be in a couple different factors here. All right, we're going to show you the ice presence in Minnesota.
Don't think I have to do anything for, but he's cute.
We're going to talk about the shooting, and we're also going to talk about your Second Amendment rights while protesting and while being detained or arrested.
Alright. Basically how I'm playing this game. Anything along the way. As far as
So get ready for a big dose of reality as we try to sift our way through this pig trough of human excrement that is this officer-involved shooting. And because our YouTube overlords don't like us talking about controversial subjects here, first a word from this video sponsor. If you've spent this January saying to yourself, this year I'm gonna quit, but then one of those old cravings starts coming forward and you're back.
Anything I can get in trouble with, I'm probably gonna do. I keep getting arrested every time I do something illegal, so I keep losing all of my my masks, because apparently if you have any of the little black mask things that let you do crimes on you, when you get arrested, you lose them all, not just the one you're wearing. So that's grand. Gotta love that. But yeah. Also too, there is gonna be a YouTube video playing in the background if you start watching, because I don't actually have anybody that watches me currently, so I need some kind of noise. I wonder. That's a waterfall. Is there anything behind said waterfall? I mean, it probably wouldn't be this one, though, would it? Yeah, this is my issue. Is very bad rendering for certain things. From a distance, it looks amazing, but when you're up close, you can really see pixels. Probably that one down there. It's got something. Huh?
And nothing bad happened at all, anywhere at all. And the other extreme side of the argument is saying that ICE is a terrorist organization and should be abolished, and everything you do is illegal. Obviously, there's a lot of room in the middle to play with. But the squeakiest wheel gets the grease, doesn't it? And with Minnesota being just a hotbed of political
Oh no, I'm gonna drown. I'm gonna drown, aren't I?
So activist groups are coming in, they're disrupting ICE raids, and that has already led to a previous incident with Renee Gunn. You know, the lady that almost ran over an ICE agent and was shot. And if you'd like to see my breakdown on that, you go right ahead and see all of that.
Ouch.
More content for you.
Okay. That makes no sense, but okay. We're just gonna get up here.
And let's touch on the activism. There are a lot of videos right now of normal citizens, or I would say more of the provocateurs of this activist group or groups, that are stopping, chasing, stalking, harassing, and sometimes assaulting the residents of Minnesota because that group thinks that that individual riding around in just a Ford Explorer is an ICE agent or a Fed.
There you go. Yeah, like I said, I don't have to do this. Okay, that's all. We just gotta stop it.
Streamers are getting pulled out of their car and beat up. Legitimate media personnel with all their stuff in their trunk are being forced to pull over after being stalked in vehicles and having horns beeped at them, boxed in and unable to leave, forced or having people demand that they show their credentials to some random person.
No,
I'm not here to help you.
No, I
the fact that you're in people like this and
I get it. With all due respect, everybody, I can't help you.
Which, if you're upset about ICE detaining people illegally, and you're doing that, pot calling the kettle black. An extreme version of it. A random group of people that are protesting
chicken.
political activists with stopping
mean, chicken.
citizens and demanding things from them?
It's my chicken.
Yeah, Minnesota's kind
Alright,
of
let's
an
put it down.
intense area to be
There you go.
at the moment.
I picked up a baby goat yesterday, and it was fucking adorable how it lets you just cradle it and hold it around.
So we've got
He didn't just fucking yank it up by its bottom feet like that.
about ICE, their presence in Minnesota and what they can do legally, right?
I am, like I said, gonna get into absolutely everything. What is this?
Immigration law. Here you
Oh,
legally
it's minerals.
commit a crime. You need
At least I know where they're at,
ICE
so I can come back later and get them.
local or state laws. And here's where I see a lot of people getting mixed up.
This
So let me be clear.
looks
No, an ICE
terrifying.
agent can't stop you for littering on the street. There would be your local city or town ordinance that your local PD could fine you for. No, ICE
That's a
vehicles
centipede.
can't do a traffic stop on you if you're an American citizen. However, they can do car stops with individuals that are a part of their investigation. And what we're seeing now is that while ICE officers are conducting an investigation, individuals are intentionally obstructing them with their vehicles or themselves standing in the middle of the road. And although ICE agents can't write them a ticket for parking illegally or running a red light, once again, that's state and local level law enforcement, they can, however, detain or arrest somebody for obstructing their investigation by blocking a road or standing in the middle of the road in an effort to try and stop them from driving away or pin them in and prevent them from leaving. Think of it this way. If you're a normal person, like some of these bloggers or media personnel, and you're driving your car and then you're surrounded by a bunch of people, are they not obstructing your rights to freely move and go about your business? Now bump it up a notch and say that you are a law enforcement officer legally doing your duties, conducting an investigation, and the same thing occurs. Obviously, that's gonna obstruct.
And that sucks. Okay, yeah. I'm stuck in this hole for forever. Well, until I die. I don't know what was even going on up there.
Finally, our first video of Alex. Now, this is several minutes before the overall incident occurs, where unfortunately, Alex
And I don't even know where I was.
is that Alex is in the middle
Somewhere
of the
over
road,
here.
obstructing an ICE investigation. Him and a couple other individuals, the people with whistles. And although there's kind of an anonymity in a group, if you are there with a group, then that means the entire group is now involved. So Alex,
My stuff
as a
looks
part of
so
this overall group, is now involved in the obstruction of this investigation by blocking.
I think it's neat that it actually hurts you when you're close to it. It's like a hazard.
And guided or pushed or forced off of the road to try and get distance. So then that way the obstruction ceases to be. Now, could he
Alright,
be
here's where I was at.
Could he be detained for obstruction?
Now,
Sure,
whatever
that
I
is a legal
was...
possibility, but he's not.
Whatever
So, at
got
this
aggroed
point,
on me is up here
strike
somewhere.
one for Alex. Hey,
Maybe
bud,
it's gone.
you're here, you're told you're obstructing, you're forcibly pushed out of the road, you've already been instructed. Do not obstruct, or there is a potential for an arrest. I would suggest this is an instruction to not obstruct the investigation. Get out of the road, stay on the sidewalk, keep your space, normal things that you would hear. And when the body camera comes out, it would be interesting to hear exactly what the ICE officer says. But now
Apparently
you know
not.
why Alex is here. He's not just a guy that's walking up and down the street. He's there to participate in a protest. And he's already been warned and escorted out of the street. Don't interrupt in this investigation. And here we bring ourselves to the second video. The original video that everybody saw that flooded the internet. Now, an unknown amount of time has progressed from when Alex originally met with the officer, the ICE agent, who instructed him to get out of the road. This is where we see another officer, not the original one, push a female out of the road and then deploy chemical spray. This is when Alex gets in between the officer and the individual female that he's been pushing away out of the street. Although slight, Alex is now obstructing this officer. But let's break this part down a little bit more and talk about crowd control tactics. We talked briefly about ICE's job, right? Enforcing immigration and customs, right? Do you think they get a significant amount of training when it comes to crowd control? Probably not, because that's not really their job, unless you're at an actual border crossing station. But even then,
There's supposed to be some down here that I'm not seeing.
are likely more trained and apt to respond to large crowd control events, riot squads, the party police, if you will. Now, I'm sure ICE has some sort of training or a group that is trained in crowd control tactics, but I would bet that it's not to the level or with the level of experience that that state and local municipalities train for. I myself received FEMA training on crowd control, and I have some questions about this first engagement with the ICE officer, the female, and Alex. Here we see a young lady walk up to the ICE officer. Too close. People are blocking the road. I'm tired of this. Get away from me. Get out of the road. Normal. Crowd control. Legal. Doesn't bring up other questions like, how long has he been dealing with her? Is this her first or second time talking to him? Did he need to push her? But legal. Then we have Alex trying to get in the middle of it. This is where we see obstruction. And he's maced. And here's where I start seeing poor tactics. You've pushed the woman away. You've maced the guy. Why are we dancing around him trying to mace him more in the face? Create distance. Keep that distance and break contact. If you want to effect an arrest, then let's effect an arrest. Now, are these legal actions? Yes. Does it look sloppy? Yeah. Let's continue. So it's been a couple more seconds, and now we've got a melee. People are falling all over the ground. The ICE agent's still macing people. He's falling all over the ground. Now more ICE agents are coming over here to see what is going on. Does this look tactically sound? No. Now what happens when people are screaming?
Why are we stuck? Okay.
Knows what to do?
I don't have the stamina to get out of here,
Let's separate
apparently.
everybody, detain, and figure it out. But what brought us here? What brought us to this pile of trying to separate and detain? Poor tactics. If you're gonna create distance and end it there. If you're going to effect an arrest, effect an arrest. If you're going to mace in order to get people to comply,
I think my game's glitched.
see if they comply. and
Whatever
then
this is seems like
But
it's
this dance of everybody falling over one another and having the officer
Seems like it's a small
interject
boss
himself
fight,
into
maybe.
the
I don't know.
falling over themselves is
That's
sloppy.
disappointing.
Is it illegal? No. All this is legal,
Huh.
but it's poor tactics. Now you're gonna say, AC, that doesn't make any sense. How can it look bad but be legal? How can it be so sloppy but still be okay? I'll give you an analogy. You've got a house. Somebody builds that house. That house is to the spec. It follows all the legal statutes for foundation and plumbing work. But the outside of the house is pink shutters, brown trim, and orange siding with black polka dots, with a multicolored roof. Sure, the house is legitimate, but it looks like... You know what would have been great in this environment? If local PD were to, I don't know, have a crowd control unit of officers to cordon off the area. So then that way, the local populace protesting couldn't get involved with an actual federal investigation. This protects not only the federal officers that are legally conducting an investigation, but also the protesters and members of the community that are allowed and legally protesting. Geez, it's almost like if local and federal law enforcement worked together instead of having politicians write executive orders stating that they can't or are unable to, maybe we wouldn't have some of these issues. Sound familiar? And while we're on the subject of tactics, right? When you're engaging people in crowd control, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to create distance? Are you trying to get compliance? Are you trying to effect an arrest? If you don't know what you're doing, it shows, and that can cause issues. When I watched the initial interaction between the ICE agent, the female, and Alex, I don't know what the f*** is going on, and that's not good. Are you creating distance? Are you trying to get compliance, or are you making an arrest? And then you have to ask yourself, is this an appropriate time for an arrest? Is this what happens when an arrest occurs? I need people to assist me in effecting an arrest. I need people that are securing the scene. That means additional personnel to make sure that I and people around me are safe, to include the person I'm arresting, because I'm in charge of their personal...
I love this game. I hate this game and love this game at the same time. Because, like, there is, oh my god, moments where, holy shit, this is a big spot.
And here we are. Legal.
This one's
But
done.
legal. But confusing.
Can't do better than that, friend.
Now here's what you're all here for, right? The shooting. The most significant part of this entire story, because it leads to an American citizen losing their life to law enforcement. Not great. Nobody wants that. Unless you're on some sort of suicide mission. That's a different topic. One of the first things that I was taught in the academy is that, hey young officers, hey rookies, you need to realize that every call you go to as a gun call, because you are bringing a gun to the incident. Now, this isn't supposed to make officers get scared and jumpy and extra trigger-happy. It's supposed to relay a crucial point. You have a responsibility to be aware of your actions because you are bringing a firearm into the situation. Whether it's a cat in the tree, or a burglary in progress, or a traffic stop, you need to be aware of the responsibility and the potential dangers that you have that could occur because you're bringing a firearm into an environment. If only Alex had that knowledge. Let me start by saying carrying a firearm is your right. There are people that say carrying firearms to a protest is illegal, or you need to have your proper identification on you in order to carry. And if you don't have your ID on you, then it's automatically illegal. And to somebody who's fairly pro-Second Amendment, I would rattle off some of the numerous demonstrations where individuals have openly carried their firearms in protest of something. Pro-Second Amendment rights or marches. And even the Black Panthers were having their firearms out. So anybody telling you that you can't bring a firearm to a protest is, well, trying to state that because he didn't have his permit on him, even though he is a legal pistol permit recipient and can carry a concealed pistol, is a bad argument. I compare it to driving.
Yeah?
Broad term of
I'll be back.